is Rosalind Carroll, and welcome to the Counselor's Table, where experts counselors meet to discuss contemporary issues. Today's topic will answer the question, how can schools prepare for an intruder on campus? Joining us today are expert counselors Larry Chang and Juanita Douglas. Let's begin our discussion by watching this brief clip on the horrific Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting, which happened on December 14th, 2012 in Newtown, Connecticut, when 20-year-old Adam Lanza fatally shot 20 children and 6 staff members.
This day, when a searing tragedy struck in a place parents felt their children were safe. The worst grade school shooting in U.S. history, at least 27 dead, 20 children, 7 adults, including the principal. And the gunman killed himself.
The children's day and their innocence is shattered.
6 at Sandy Hook School. Call is indicating she thinks there's someone shooting in the building.
We heard a loud bang. We thought that something fell. Then we heard another. And then we thought that that was a gunshot.
What do you remember?
We got to school. We did everything we needed to, and then we heard all this racket. Then we heard them say, go in your cubbies. We thought we had to go because something bad was happening.
What did the teacher do then?
She read us some books, and we talked about things, and they played little games in there.
And while that was going on, your teacher was reading you books and keeping you calm.
Yeah.
She just kept her calm and told you a story.
She read us The Nutcracker and another book that was about Christmas.
How did you find out?
Well, we got a phone call from the school saying the schools were on lockdown.
Lockdown.
Sandy Hook Elementary School is among many schools that have been on lockdown. This occurs when suspected intruders may potentially try to enter the campus or when intruders are already on campus. Other schools include Deer Creek Middle School in Littleton, Colorado, where 2 students were shot by a 32-year-old man armed with a high-powered rifle on February 23, 2010. And Robert E. McNair Learning Academy in Decanter, Georgia, where a 20-year-old opened fire just before dismissal on August 20th, 2013. It would be easy to conclude that schools have never been a more dangerous place, but statistics suggest otherwise. Despite 2 decades of high-profile shootings, schools have become a safer place. According to the U.S. Justice Department of Education, safety has improved by every measure. A recent study showed that there is a 1 in 2 million chance of a kindergarten through 12th grade student dying at school by violence or suicide. Between the 1999 and 2000 and 2009-2010 school years, there was an increase in the percentage of public schools reporting the use of the following safety and security measures. Controlled access to the buildings during school hours increased from 75 to 92%. Controlled access to school grounds during school hours increased from 34 to 46%. Faculty required to wear badges or picture IDs increased from 25 to 63%. The use of 1 or more security cameras to monitor the school increased from 19 to 61%. The provision of telephones in most classrooms increased from 45 to 74%. And the requirement that students wear uniforms increased from 12 to 19%. President Obama has also introduced his expansive new initiatives to reduce gun violence. In addition, most schools have detailed school crisis plans in place. Juanita, I understand you are a specialist when it comes to school crisis plans. What can you tell us about them?
According to our school crisis plan on how to deal with an intruder with a gun, what we want to do is pay attention to the signs, to the person, to what may be going on. Understand that everybody that's on our campus should have on a visitor's pass or some type of badge that's saying that they work for the district. If you do not see that and the person does not have on a visitor's pass, begin to question why they are there. You can ask questions, you can approach the person with confidence, but with caution. Continually assess the situation. If you feel the individual is unapproachable or becomes confrontational, call the office immediately with the location and the description of the individual. If the person seems approachable, ask the person for assistance. Can I help you with something? Have you checked in at the office yet? Are you lost? Are you looking for someone? Keep on asking questions as necessary for you to assess the situation. You can call 911 if the police are already not involved, and the school office will then notify the superintendent office of the situation at hand. Obtain a complete description, as law enforcement will need to know these things. What the sex is of the person, the height, the weight. If you noted any tattoos, their scars, their birthmarks, tattoos, prominent features, anything that is unusual. The extent of the emergency will dictate the course of action that will be taken. The site administrator will take appropriate action to ensure that students and staff return to the buildings. If outside and once inside, remain inside the building. Do not come out of the building once you're inside the building. All outside doors should be locked. Students immediately seeking shelter should be admitted to the safety of the classroom. If necessary, an announcement will be made, something that we all that will know, and that announcement will be, there will be a 5 p.m. staff meeting. That is to alert every staff member and every adult on the campus that we are in an emergency situation and we need to treat it as such. If your class is outside, do not drop to the ground. Teachers and other staff will move students to an area of safety as soon as possible. A locked area, if possible. Further instructions will follow. If your class is inside, teachers are to keep their students in the classroom. Do not allow any students to come out of the classroom or play around doors or windows or anything. Close the windows, blinds, and doors. Be sure the door is locked. Get as far away from the point of entry as possible. So any maybe sliding glass doors, any classroom doors, any windows, anywhere that's a point of entry, there shouldn't be anybody near it. Build a barricade with classroom furniture so you can move furniture like desks or chairs or anything that's heavy, filing cabinets in front of the doors to block the way. Take attendance and account for all students on the green sheet that is provided for you in the classroom. Be prepared to share this information with the law enforcement because this is important information. They're going to want to know where the kids are and if you have everybody. Keep your telephone lines clear, so don't be on the phone sharing the information with outside sources. Keep your telephone lines clear, as this is the communication that we will be using. Do not open doors for anyone. If it is a law enforcement official, they will be dressed in law enforcement clothing and they will have a badge. Follow the law enforcement official's direction as they evacuate each classroom. Do not be alarmed. The law officials will be searching and handcuffing every adult on the campus for safety reasons because they do not know who the suspect is. Let your students know if necessary in advance to avoid frightening students any further. Make sure when you're talking to your students that you're keeping them comfortable and you're using words that they know. If you're in an elementary school setting, make sure you're using simple words. Anything that is calming to them, comforting to them. Do not let them know what's going on outside. It's not for them to know at that time. Special note, students and staff will remain indoors until site administrators or law enforcement officers have notified the staff that the emergency is over. In the event that the emergency situation is determined to no longer exist and the evacuation procedures are not necessary, an announcement will be made that the 5 p.m. staff meeting has been canceled. To follow up with the law enforcement officers knowing, you will know they will have a badge. I'm going to refer to the Sandy Hook situation, and there was a teacher who would not let the law enforcement officer in because she felt that a law enforcement officer should be able to get in the classroom on their own. So I'm going to show that now.
Actually, what happened was the police came and started knocking, and obviously, I was completely beside myself, and I said, I don't believe you. You need to put your badges under the door. So they put their badges under the door. I said, if you're really a police officer, then you would have a way to get in here. You would have a key, or you would have gotten it from the janitor. If everything's okay now, you would have found the keys. So he had the keys, and he found the right one, and he unlocked the door, and then they brought us out to the firehouse to meet up with the rest of the teachers and students, waiting for parents to come and pick them up.
I think there are a lot of people.
So now we're going to refer to Larry. And Larry, can you tell us what the counselor's role is for dealing with an intruder with a gun?
Hello, my name is Larry Chang, and this is the Counselor's Table. Today I will be going over the counselor's responsibilities when there is an intruder with a gun on campus. According to the American School Counselors Association's position regarding a school crisis, the professional school counselor serves as a leader in safe school initiatives and a vital resource in the creation, development, and implementation of response plans before, during, and after a crisis. A school counselor has many roles and responsibilities. The American School Counselors Association states that the professional school counselors are vital resources in preventing violent incidents, intervening when concerns arise about potential violence, and responding when violence occurs. Through the implementation of a comprehensive school counseling program, professional school counselors promote school safety, assist students engaging in unhealthy or unsafe behaviors, and make referrals as needed. When there's an intruder with a gun on campus, our main concern is the student's physical safety and mental well-being. As a school counselor, a crisis such as this can be hard to deal with because we don't expect it to happen. It is very unpredictable as well because the intruder could be anyone and it can happen at any time. It could be a random stranger, a student's friend, a gang member, a student's parent, or the student themselves. And the intruder could be anywhere as well. They could be carrying a gun across the street or walk through the front door, or it could be a student who carried a gun onto campus. That's why it's very important that no matter when, where, why, or how a situation occurs, we need to be prepared. So if there's an intruder with a gun on campus, there is a procedure that we must follow and everyone plays a role. Our first priority is to call 911 because law enforcement needs to be informed. The principal is the lead person on campus, so they will make the call and the law enforcement will be the ones that will conduct the sweep and investigation. A series of steps will follow the 911 call. The principal will then make an announcement to all school staff to initiate lockdown. The principal will then head to his office and call the district office to inform the superintendent. The next step is to minimize the effects of the crisis and to keep the crisis from escalating. By this, I mean make an announcement and initiating school lockdown through the PA system. As counselors, our job is to head to the administration office to communicate with the community and parents if they start calling in. The worst thing is to have the school bombarded with telephone calls and questions. So our responsibility at this point is to communicate with the community and the parents so that they understand the situation. While we head to the administration office, the administration staff and security guards will sweep the entire campus to direct all students to the nearest classroom or buildings if it is safe to do so. Another important figure in schools are the teachers. Teachers are instructed to lock all doors, close all windows, shades, or blinds. Then they should move all the students away from the windows and doors and instruct everyone to lie on the floor. Teachers should not let anyone in or out until the law enforcement arrives. They should also take a head count to see how many people are in the building or classroom that they are in. If students ask a question, teachers need to be mindful of their age and developmental levels. Teachers are advised not to tell students everything and only tell them enough to satisfy them for the time being. For young children in elementary schools, they do not process the complexities of a weapon or violence the same way as adolescents. They will see how threatening a crisis is by how an adult reacts to it. If you're scared and frightened, they will most likely be scared and frightened as well. So be sure to answer students' questions in a delicate manner, but do not ignore them. Once the law enforcement arrives, they take over the scene. As counselors, we cooperate with them and we are at their discretion. If they need the master key to the school, we give it to them. They are the professionals in this field and they are trained for these types of situations. All we can do is trust and believe in their abilities and the law enforcement. After the school crisis incident, we need to provide assessment of emotional needs for the staff, students, families, and responders. We need to determine those who are in need of some kind of intervention by either a school counselor like myself, a social worker, a school psychologist, or other mental health professions. A school crisis, such as an intruder with a gun, is uncontrollable and can have negative effects. This type of crisis has the potential to create harmful effects on students and staff. Cognitive development and coping skills are often affected and may lead to academic and behavioral difficulties in school, such as a student's attention and memory. It can also lead to social problems such as aggression, depression, or isolation. In other cases, a school crisis can lead to post-traumatic stress disorder, so it is essential that we are aware of the after effects of a school crisis and also be prepared to have a support system and positive coping mechanisms for everyone involved. The final step of a counselor's responsibilities is to resume our normal routine as soon as possible. Just remember that every situation is different. An intruder can come at any time, whether it's during lunchtime when all the students are outside, or they can come during class time when all the students are inside. Whatever the situation, there's a procedure that we must follow, and everyone has a role. Just know that not all the steps may be followed exactly. We rely on our procedures as best as we can, and we also have to adapt to the situation and lean on our training to guide us in order to ensure the safety of all the safety of all the students and staff. Thank you.
Let's remember these children who lost their lives in the Sandy Hook massacre and consider this situation as a national call for action. Keeping our schools closed to intruders may not always be possible, but we can make it very difficult for them to enter. Thank you, Juanita and Larry, for joining us today at the Counselor's Table. America, let's work together to keep our schools safe.